Welcome everyone to the Radnor Township Historic and Architectural Review Board meeting for Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021. First order of business is a call to order. Second order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next order of new business is HARB 2021-12, 113 Walnut Avenue in Wayne, PA. New construction of a single family detached dwelling with two-car detached garage. Before we get into the presentation, I would like to give some basic background on this property. It is new construction, so there are no records in Radnor Township's historic districts. It is surrounded by contributing properties that have historic architectural significance. The property surrounding 113 Walnut Avenue, according to Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey, is 103 Walnut, which is a gabled inn, 111 Walnut, which is a Japanese house, 118 Walnut, which is a pillar house, 121 Walnut, which is a medium cottage, 125 Walnut, which is a gabled inn, 129 Walnut, which is a pillar house, and 130 Walnut is a tower house, and 131 Walnut is a medium cottage. Now, I'd like to bring up, again, this little brochure at the Radnor Historical Society called Rural Homes. That was a marketing piece for the original builders, Wendell and Smith. And all of those surrounding properties are described here as far as their architectural detail. Okay. With that being said, please introduce yourself and share your plans with us.
Sure. My name is Brendan Riley. Appreciate everybody taking time to review and discuss our plans this evening. My partner, Joe Morrissey with Fox Lane Homes, is also on the call. So we acquired the property in August of 2020. It is a vacant 1/4 acre parcel located at 113 Walnut Avenue. And our plan is to construct a single family detached dwelling per the plans everybody has received, along with a two-car detached garage. Admittedly, this is my first time going through the process, so I'm not fully sure of what criteria you're looking for or what questions you may have. But I'm open to answering any questions anybody on the call has regarding our plans for the construction of the property.
Do you have your design plans available that you can share with us on the screen?
They are extremely large and cumbersome, and most of us would have to get up from where we were sitting to refer to them. So if you could put them on the screen, it would make our lives so much easier.
Sure. If you can talk me through, is it just click on this share screen, or what am I doing?
Yes, click on share screen.
Okay.
And then it'll give you a choice of windows to share. And you don't want to share your whole desktop. You want to share just the window with, whatever application has your images.
Yeah, we don't comment on the interior, just the exterior.
Right.
So we don't need floor plans. And we are being recorded, so you really don't want to show your floor plans.
Let me try this. So let me try files.
You should have the images open before you go to share screen also, Brendan.
Okay, let me try opening the image now.
Okay.
We're going to hire you for IT.
I am not the person you want to hire for IT.
I work in a school. I live on Zoom.
I'm glad somebody can talk me through this.
Well, thank you very much for your service. That's been an amazing feat of courage to work in a school through all of this.
We made it.
Okay, I have the plans open. I just got to figure out how to get them onto this screen.
So if you mouse towards the bottom of your Zoom window,
Mhm.
you'll get the Zoom tools there.
Okay,
And do you see, there's like participants, chat, and then the green share screen image?
I do see that. Yep.
Hit that. Yep, hit
Mhm.
that. And then do you get a little window that shows you a bunch of things that are on your desktop?
Correct.
Okay, and just point to the one, don't do full screen though. You want to just share just the one application. I don't know if you have it open in preview.
All right, sorry, everybody.
Okay, good.
Let me see if this works.
Yes.
All right, are you able to see that?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, Lisa.
Sorry, my dog is barking.
If you could speak dog, he'd probably be explaining to you what you're doing wrong.
It's my dog, and I got 9-year-old twins who just came home from soccer practice.
Oh, well, you know what Groucho Marx said, this is so easy a 4-year-old could do it. Bring me a 4-year-old. I cannot figure this out.
I should bring them in here. So when I look at options to share, all I see is Dropbox, Microsoft, Google Drive, Xbox, and Microsoft SharePoint. I don't have the file on any of those.
Excuse me, do you have the file open on your
I
desktop?
do, yes.
And you don't see that application coming up to share?
Joe, do
All I
you
have is desktop,
your
whiteboard.
computer? Can you share with us?
I was, well, yeah, when Brian was talking, I was just trying to see if I could do it. I'm probably less advanced with the technology than Brendan, but let me check.
If you
Brendan,
want,
the
you can
other
send-
option, you can share your full desktop. We can see if we can see it that way, but we will see other things on your computer, so just be aware. Okay, you're muted, but hopefully that was.
Sorry, the only other thing I have on my. Oh,
Yeah,
got it.
there it is.
We're good. We got you. Thank you.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to call Miss.
Hey. Yeah, it looks like I have control of it.
All right, Joe, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. Just tell me when you want to switch.
Okay, so the image you're seeing now depicts the front and right side elevation, which is where the driveway would go leading to the detached garage. So the construction materials are hardy plank with hardy shake, AZAC. It would be a wood window. Excuse me, a wood front door. Architectural shingles. And then on the side elevation, it would be stone to grade, and there is standing seam metal roofs. And then the image that just came up now is the rear and right side elevation, left side elevation, excuse me.
I have to ask, are you within the impervious limits?
Yes.
Okay.
We have, we submitted everything to the township and also subsequently to the township's engineer. We have met every requirement to receive a grading permit. We haven't actually submitted for a grading permit yet. We're just going through the channels. This property is, a corner of it is in the floodplain. All the dwellings are outside of the floodplain. And we've already gone through Shade Tree Commission as well. So HARB is pretty much our last step towards obtaining the necessary permits.
Would you put it back to the front elevation for me, please?
You got it.
There's a lot of paper connected with this. I wanted to look at the pictures.
I have a
You're
question.
building this on spec? You don't have a buyer?
Don't have a buyer.
Correct.
Brenda, I have a question. Considering that this proposed new house is surrounded by a lot of historic houses there on that street, have you considered taking any clues from those designs for this house?
We did. And also, so this property is 75 feet wide and there are 40-foot side yard setbacks. We did not try to obtain additional relief. So we're building a 30-foot wide home. So we tried to incorporate as many of the architectural details that we noticed in the neighborhood into building this. But with a narrow footprint, there's not a whole lot that we can do with coming up with a functional floor plan as well.
But I do like that you have
This front porch.
a gabled roof on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Also,
actually
too,
changed that window in the gable to match other homes that we saw in the neighborhood.
okay, yeah, I saw that. And also too, with the front porch, it will extend
That's an
the
8-foot
entire
front
front
porch.
of the house.
Correct. Excuse me?
It's the full width of the front. Yeah.
It's the full width of the front and extends 8 feet towards the street.
Okay, lots of porches there.
Correct.
Yeah, no, it had to have a porch.
Brendan, can you highlight any of the other features that you that were informed by the neighboring homes?
Brendan, you want me to just jump in real quick?
Sure, go ahead, Joe.
You know, we did the front porch kind of to match, but then we also did that little turn gable on the porch, which we kind of got from 111 Walnut Avenue, which is almost kind of across the street, but that's in your file. We put the shake in there. That one almost looks like it has kind of a lattice look to it. But we were trying to kind of mimic that as much as we could. And then you could see it from the front, but also from the side elevation. A lot of the houses in North Wayne have that like side dormer, which if I go to the, you can see the 3 windows on the 3rd level with the side dormer, but then on the opposite side, and it's a little bit more muted, but on that side elevation, the 2nd floor window, we took those windows up, or Reid Hoffman took those windows up to match, and I don't have the address here, but to match a couple of the other houses that we saw with kind of the dormer that kind of tied into the roof line. And then just kind of a small little thing, the side fireplace, we added shake to that just to give it a little bit more. I don't know if it's a true historical architectural, but we feel like that kind of takes something that could potentially not be as good looking and tried to dress it up a little bit. And then with all the porches off the back.
One design element that I see is missing is actually a chimney. I am assuming since that fireplace only goes up to little ways above the 1st story, that it's a vented in some other way kind of gas fireplace.
It's a direct vent fireplace, and originally we did have it kind of going up, have the fireplace all the way up. Where you see the double window there, that's in the owner's bathroom. So we were hopeful to get a little bit of light in there. So that's why we went with more of the direct vent fireplace on the side.
We also, if we did a full chimney, the fireplace would have fallen outside the building restriction line. So we had to go with a cantilevered option there as well, which can't support a full chimney.
So it's still, right? Oh. May have something to do with it. So, did you said it, or are you?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that question.
I think we would, as a group, be willing to support a variance to get you that chimney if you wanted to put it in. It looks like it's missing. To me.
Is
I
that
think-
something that if the historical review board wanted it, is that something that, not that I think in life is guaranteed, but is it realistic that the zoning hearing board would be okay with it if we went that route?
We can suggest.
Got it. Yeah,
Also too, like.
We
the
can
town-
certainly put it on record that we would support it.
okay.
Yeah.
And looking at 108 Walnut in particular, I think, you know, as Sarah notes, it feels like it's a bit missing, and it feels, if you look like at 108, that that's sort of exactly the setup there, right on the side.
I think also if you go back to the second page of the documents that show the adjacent properties. Two things to note. Number one is this side of the house, it's only going to be a 15-foot setback. So there's not going to be much of a visual sight line from the street to where the chimney is located.
Well,
And-
yeah, it'll stick up off the top, up the top. That's where it's missing.
No, I meant if you look at it from the side, it's not going to be from the street perspective. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be totally obvious that that's a cantilevered fireplace. But also, if you look at the picture, there's a pretty large specimen tree in the front that we intended to keep, which is also going to be on that side of the property, and it's going to pretty much block that side of the property from the streetscape view.
It will block the street level view, but it will not block the view of the roof. People will look up. It's a new house. Everybody's going to look at it.
Mhm.
And that is a design element that is present in every other historic house. That is glaringly not in yours.
Okay.
You know, we will definitely offer our support for that design. We can't make any pronouncements. We can't guarantee you anything, but they do listen to us. If we say we think this is a design element that's missing and you need a very minor variance to get that in, I mean, it really is only going to be 2 feet, 3 at the most, and
Mhm.
just chimney. I think that I can't say it's a slam dunk, but I know that we as a group support that.
If I could ask, this is Andy Pankos from the Community Development Office. Why is did our zoning officer tell you would need a variance for that?
We were
To take
advised
the
by
chimney all the way up?
No, it's not a matter of going all the way up. So Andy, we have a 75-foot wide lot with 40-foot aggregate setbacks. So we're right at 30 feet.
Okay,
Our engineer interpreted Radnor zoning in R2 such that if we went beyond the 30-foot setback by putting a full foundation out there, that we would need a variance for that. Because part of the footprint of the house is outside.
correct. But were they okay was Kevin okay with the cantilever?
We received an email back from Kevin, I forget the gentleman's first name, Matthew Zerby, I believe, who's the township's engineer, who went through our grading plan several times, had multiple iterations of comments, and the most recent was that we've met every condition the township has to issue a grading permit.
Okay, so I guess the point I was getting at was that if it was okayed as a cantilevered structure, I mean, taking it up would not, I don't think you would need additional approval if it, whether you took it up 1.5 stories and stopped it versus taking it up where it met the code for a chimney or architecturally how high you would take it up. But I can check in with Kevin, Kachansky tomorrow on that in case anybody needs clarification.
So Andy, just let me clarify. Are you suggesting that we keep it cantilevered and extend it up? Or are you suggesting that we expand the footprint to?
No,
allow that?
the drawing is showing a cantilevered fireplace, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm saying is, I wasn't understanding and I apologize for having a connection problem in the beginning here, but multiple devices were failing me. But my question was, if it is approved in its current form on the plan, there shouldn't be a requirement to get approval for a height.
No, it's not a height issue. And Joe, I guess I'll ask you this question. If we build a full height chimney or extend the height of that, I'm assuming we would need a concrete below it to support?
Yeah, if you did a full masonry fireplace, you'd want a foundation underneath it. Now, if you boxed it out and did, thin cut brick on it, you might be okay to get it up and not need a foundation. But if it's a true masonry foundation, you'd need a foundation underneath it.
Yeah, so we're basically having framing members carry the weight of that. So the further we extend it, and depending on the type of materials used, we're adding a lot of weight to that, which.
Yeah, but it's showing shingles on it though.
Correct, but I'm saying if we go all the way up, we're going to be adding weight to that. We'd have to check with our architect and. a
Yeah,
structural
I
engineer.
would assume architecturally you would cantilever supports coming out the second floor. And, I mean, anyway, it's just the word variance caught my attention, and I just wanted to add that if it is approved as it is, I don't think you would have to go back for any kind of a variance to raise it up in height if that was a choice you guys decided to go with. And I could
Understood.
also get clarification on that if anybody would like me to do that.
Okay,
That's all.
One last question though. Would the board be okay if we framed it and did kind of a thin cut brick to get
We
you
don't care what you make it out of,
Okay, you just
as long
wanted,
as it's not imminently gonna fall over or in 20 years, it's gonna need to be knocked down.
okay,
I just want to point out to you that you've done a very thoughtful job of taking cues from all of the neighboring properties and all the properties in the historic district, but this is our job. It's a
No,
very
that's fair.
glaring error. There is no chimney. Every other house, every historical house has a chimney, whether they're actually used or not. If you were paying attention last month, we asked somebody who was doing significant interior demolition to actually leave the chimney. So we don't care what you do on the inside. It could be a totally non-functioning chimney, but we're not interested in what goes on inside. We're interested in what goes on outside. And that is, we check the tick mark for porch, full front porch, yay. Check the tick marks for, window design, siding design. It looks great, but it needs a chimney to fit in. It's like going to the Academy Ball and wearing a business suit.
I hear ya.
I'd like to also comment too, that I see in this design elements of the pillar house design, the Japanese house, and the gabled inn. I like that design.
Yeah, as soon as it has a chimney, it absolutely can play very nicely with all the other houses.
I have a question. The total square footage of the proposed new house is 2,062 square feet. Is that correct?
that's not correct. It's roughly, so the third floor will be finished. Above grade square footage will be roughly 4,300 square feet.
What about the square footage as far as its footprint?
Footprint is 30 feet wide by, I believe it's 60. I
Okay.
can't zoom in
I
enough.
think it actually might be 68, Brendan.
68, okay, so
Yeah, so
30 by
about-
68.
About 2,040 square feet.
Long skinny
Okay.
house.
Very, very long skinny house.
Yeah, I would like to mention that according to Delaware County property records, I went through all the building area as far as square footage living, going from 111 Walnut Avenue, 113, 115, 119, 121, 118, 116. I'm sorry about 111. That's your building. 116 Walnut and 108 Walnut. And as far as the total square footage living of these various historic houses, the footprint of this proposed main house is well within the footprint of these houses in the historic district. Now, as far as the proposed garage, That's 567 square feet.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Could you share your the plans with us a little bit on the garage?
Sorry, so with the garage design, we really wanted it to mimic the character and design of the main house. With the sizing of it, we also wanted to be adequate for today's family cars, it being larger SUVs. But we wanted to keep a consistent architectural design. We do also have plans to provide some finished space above that. If somebody wanted to have a home office or something, or just additional space, that's what the intent is there. But we also have the side dormer, as Joe alluded to earlier, to try to keep in character and really, again, have the architectural design of the garage mimic what we designed with the front of the house and complement it.
Well, it's a really thoughtful design. And I think with the addition of a chimney, it will be a really beautiful house, and you'll probably sell it before you build it.
We hope so.
No, but all we can offer you at this point, and I hope my fellow commissioners agree, is that we can offer you what's called a continuance. You won't need to make another full presentation to us, but we will need to comment, just to see what you're going to do with that chimney.
Mhm.
I'm not prepared to give you a certificate of appropriateness without one.
Mhm.
It really is, to me, something that's a characteristic of that neighborhood. You've got everything else. This
Okay.
is just one last little thing.
No, I think it's very fair. We appreciate the input and Joe is a former resident of North Wayne. I don't live far away. And so we want to do the right thing. And we do care about the product that we're building. With regards to the chimney, is there any specifics in terms of the facade or the cap, anything that we should advise our architect on when he's designing this?
If I were you, just go take a bunch of pictures with your phone and, see if you can come up with something that looks like, we're going to have one of these things doesn't look like the other.
Mhm.
And, maybe we can slide this in and make it something that's kind of the same.
Sure.
Can I throw in just one other question on the, on 115 Walnut, which is the twin that we originally bought with the single family lot? That had, as you walked in, it had a fireplace kind of in the foyer, and then you kind of see the chimneys kind of come out through the middle of the roof. Would you have any preference if we did a faux chimney coming out kind of the left side of that front turn gable? I don't know if you can see my mouse moving, but if we did,
that'd be fine.
you'd be okay with that?
Oh, yeah, sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because that might be a little bit easier to do, but actually give you a better look from the front if you guys would be okay with that.
Well, as long as it looks like it's a working chimney, like I said, we don't care what you do inside.
Okay, yeah, we could actually do something pretty fun there to dress that up. Okay, that's great.
Okay, well then I would like to make the motion that we offer the applicant a continuance to a future meeting where they can resubmit a design and have a very brief additional review showing the placement and materials of the chimney. And that is my motion.
Any other further comments from the board?
Yeah, I'll just add, Joe, I would have a preference for not what you just suggested. I would have a
Okay.
preference for not doing that cantilevered. If you weren't going to have the cantilevered functioning chimney on the side, I could get with you on what you just recommended. And I understand you're trying to work the window in for the bathroom, but it feels a bit silly to put a fake chimney in the middle and have a functioning chimney that doesn't look like one on the side. I just, if you could work it in, and I understand the window loss, but I would have a preference for that to be a functioning chimney on the side.
Okay, so chimney on the side first, and then as long as it's a chimney, but on the side is better, yeah. And what I would have done on the side is I probably would have made that side fireplace look like a bay window. So from the front, it would have just looked like the bay on the other side, but I understand it. We'll plan to do a 2-story on the left side.
Okay, great.
Okay, any further comments?
I'm trying to make one, but I don't think it's coming through.
I can hear you, Terry.
Okay, if you can hear me, that's half the battle. I'm concerned, we've talked about this before, and that is alerting the neighborhood to a meeting where the neighborhood is really, really special. I mean, it's one of the very few places in Pennsylvania that's a national trust, has that kind of designation. And the neighbors were infuriated by the new construction, which occurred probably 20 years ago now. And this is one instance where we need to alert the neighborhood to this meeting. We can't have this house in this neighborhood without letting the neighborhood know. And so if we do defer the meeting, which I'm going to strongly second, please let's send some alert out to the North Wayne Historic Association and let them know they should be here. And possibly by the next meeting, we'll all be in person.
All right, well, then I would like to amend my motion. I would like to amend the motion that we offer the applicant a continuance to amend their design to include a chimney. And that in addition, that they work with Mr. Kachansky to provide outreach and notification to the neighbors whenever that meeting is about, whenever you come back to us with your design.
If I can just chime in real quick, just so the board is aware, we have spoken with the adjacent neighbors. They are well aware of the plans that we intend to build, and everybody has voiced support for it. In fact, the neighbor next door has already spoken with us about some things that while we're building this, if there's some things we can help them with. So we have spoken to both adjacent neighbors and the rear adjacent property, because again, when everybody takes notice when there's a survey, everybody takes notice when test pits are being dug. So we knocked on doors, we introduced ourselves, we gave them our cards, we told them we live in the neighborhood, and we told them what our plans were. So they are definitely aware of the fact that there's going to be a new construction home built there.
Yes, but none of them gave you letters of support, and none of them are here to comment on your design. So they may realize that they can't object to you building, but no one has commented to us or to anyone that would allow us to know about your design, because I suspect they haven't actually seen it.
And I think nothing is more effective than a petition. If you want to start something like that on your behalf, obviously you should bring it to the meeting. But you can say that everybody's just loved it, but the neighborhood's bigger than just the people next door. And it really does make a difference when something new construction goes in. If you don't have a copy of Rural Homes, you need it. Walnut is spelled with one L. Little dumb things like that.
That's the architect.
Notify the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood.
If I can just ask one more question. So if the purpose of this meeting is to receive a certificate of appropriateness from the Historical and Architectural Review Board. Now we're talking about inviting neighborhood opinions. How are their opinions aligned with what Harb's objective is here?
We're trying to
And
preserve
how
the
would a neighbor
character
be
of the
qualified
neighborhood.
to provide? I'm just trying to understand how a neighbor would be qualified to provide architectural guidance on a proposed new construction home.
Well, our backgrounds are American art and architecture. I know mine is.
I'm not questioning Harb. I'm saying your comment specifically was inviting neighbors who may or may not have any qualifications
Yes.
to provide comments on this. So I'm just
But
trying to understand how that is a valid request.
The
They're
house
commenting
could
to
be
us,
so
not to
out
you.
of- The front of the house could be
There is
so
public
out of
comment
character.
allowed. Public comment is allowed.
I understand that, but, and Andy, I completely understand that. My question specifically is, there's a process to building a home here. We've gone through grading, we've gone through shade tree. We're now in front of the Historical and Architectural Review Board, which we're working towards, obviously incorporating architectural designs that the board has recommended. We've now gone one step further, it sounds like, which is we're now inviting public comments on this proposed project. And I just don't understand how that's within the scope of the township's approval process.
It is absolutely within the scope of our brief to request public comment. They comment to us, not to you. The notion of what we do generally is, and what we're doing further on in this meeting is just additions. Basically, if somebody wants to put on, more square feet in the back or on the side, or add a garage, or these are things that we have to comment on, but they don't impact so forcefully on the look of the neighborhood. And these people have paid lots and lots of money. Somebody's going to give you lots and lots of money. And they want it to fit, they will want it to fit in. As I said before, I think this is a very thoughtful and carefully crafted design, but public comment is something that we are always interested in knowing, and specifically for new construction. Specifically for new construction.
Okay,
There
So
isn't
pl-
much of it
understood.
because land is so precious.
I would like to just make a comment that in prior cases, neighbors did submit affidavits and letters of approval or disapproval for design. One of the things that the HARB has looked at before, since I've been on board, is the whole question of community notification, which would be similar to what the zoning board does. Now, in my opinion, considering our ordinance, we can make a motion, but as far as specific community notification, where the burden is placed on the house owner to do that, it's just not in there. Hopefully, at some point in time, we're going to get there. I tabled it before as I advocated for it for a number of years. And at some point, I'll take that off the table. But I do not feel that it should be the burden of the house owner to go and be responsible for community notification. There's a website. People can look at our website. I know a lot of this is very basic. I would like to see it be a lot more broader, where every house owner in the historic districts is alerted to all our meetings through the mail, as happens with the zoning board. Hopefully we will get there. If people have interest, there's something on the website, at least as far as the cases that do come up. There's word of mouth, obviously, from neighbors who live within the immediate vicinity that you've talked to, Brendan. And that's all that we can do at this point in time. If people want to comment, they can give letters and put them in the packet for the particular hard case. They can go and give public participation at our board meetings. But that's all we can do, in my opinion, at this point in time.
I do want to point out, it's not a particularly expensive exercise. Basically, you pay the postage and the township takes care of everything else.
We don't know that, Sarah.
Yeah, Kevin, that's what we do.
Okay.
But Sarah, if that was part of the process, that should be part of the HARB application, and it's not.
It's not part of the HARB application. I agree. We cannot compel you to do this. But as I said, it's not an expensive thing to do, to work with Kevin to put out a mailing. There's maybe 100 homes that need to be notified that they're going to be getting a new neighbor. And The comments,
You're asking us to do something that's not part of the HARB application. We've
I-
complied with everything.
I will get clarification from Kevin. He's the director of community development, and I'll speak to him about it tomorrow morning.
Okay. And if we could have that information, Andy, before our next meeting.
I'll have him send an email out to the board and to the applicant as well, just so that we have clarification. We have a continuance in place, so we're going to be back in front of the board next month. So I won't waste any time in contacting him. I'll probably send him an email tonight, so that he knows that we need to talk about it tomorrow to clarify everything.
Yeah, because I would definitely like to see, as far as notification goes, that is an ongoing thing and not, a case-by-case basis. Because I think that would be arbitrary and capricious.
Personally, I don't think it's a requirement of the HARB to do that like it is for zoning.
Right, exactly, it's
But-
not.
But again, I have to talk to Kevin about if it is a request from the board or a board member, what do we do with that request? So I think since we have a continuance, we do have some time. I will not waste any time, and we'll get a clear answer on this.
And if you could also ask Kevin, when you're asking that, my understanding of if you're going to change a requirement of a submission, it typically applies to new submissions, not already submitted applications. So as an example, if you're going to subject
Absolutely.
homes to different codes, if a
No, I
plan
understand.
comes in, okay,
You would want to know, would this apply to you, or is it just going forward?
correct.
And that completely, and I will get you clarification on that.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
That said, Brendan, I will say I am new to the board and just kind of feeling out my role as a community member and as a board member. And what I've seen here is that folks that buy historic homes in this region have a real vested interest in keeping the look of the neighborhood. I think the plans that you shared really by and large do that with the small modification of the chimney. So I would say no matter the outcome of Andy's inquiry, it behooves you to continue open conversation with the neighbors, to share the plans with them, to continue to bring them into what you're doing. It just makes for, as you know, good business and certainly
Yes.
for good neighbors.
Yes, and Lisa, I appreciate the comment. We certainly, I don't want to be confrontational towards the suggestion. I have done this long enough to know that if we're going to open this up to all of North Wayne's opinion on the architecture of the house, it's probably not a great idea. We're more than happy to incorporate every suggestion by the board this evening. Obviously, we would like to move this forward, and I think if we're going to go along with the suggestion of opening this up to public opinion for the next meeting, I just don't think that's the right approach for this. But we're more than happy. We appreciate everybody's opinion. I love the comments. I appreciate the recognition for the work that we put into trying to make this fit into the neighborhood. It really was our goal. So again, I do appreciate everybody's feedback on that. And we will incorporate the suggestions of the board this evening.
Okay, I would like to have another motion for continuance.
so moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
I also say aye. The board issues a continuance, especially for the design of a chimney.
Bob,
Okay.
just real quick, we do have a member of the public on the meeting
Okay,
who has a hand raised indicating they want to make public comment on this item.
okay.
So I will allow them to make comment for Barbara Claus Blackney.
Okay,
Should be coming on in a moment.
Barbara, unmute yourself, please. There you go.
Thank you. And I'm here with my husband, Kevin Blackney, and he's actually going to comment.
Thank you very much. So I think the design is as someone said, generally in the right direction. There are a couple of questions. Before I do that, just so we live in the 200 block of Walnut Avenue for 25 years now. I'm an architect, and I helped originally form the HARB when the township wanted to move forward with it. I just mentioned that, so maybe it gives me a small bit of credibility. I have two comments related to the design that as when it comes back, the HARB can consider. I don't necessarily know if we need to spend a lot of time on it tonight. It looks to me like the front porch, the way it's rendered in the elevation. The roof is a metal panel, kind of a standing seam metal roof. And my suggestion in terms of context is I don't know of any, or at least hardly any, of those types of roof in terms of context that exist in the neighborhood. Now, I may be misunderstanding the way the roof is rendered, and if I am, I apologize. And the other comment that I have from again, these are details I'm talking about, so that's pretty good for you, Brendan, is that the garage door is extremely wide, and most of the garages in the neighborhood, their doors are wide. And I do understand that the SUVs are a lot taller than we had when the horses were going in our garages. So I don't think but I think the height is a lot different than the width. So those are my two suggestions that just the HARB might consider as they move forward with your review. And the last comment I would just say, Brendan, is that I understand your reluctance to bring too many people in, but what happens is that you're going to sell this house to a family, and I know you're going to want that family to be appreciated by the neighborhood. So if the neighbor, and I know you're going to do that, Brendan, I'm not insulting you here. If the neighborhood feels good about how you presented the design, it's going to help the neighbor assimilate. It's not a big deal, Brendan, what I just said, but it's just something to think about. So my two comments related to the design, I would hope that the HARB might consider them and think about them when you move forward with the next review. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Any other further public comment?
That was the only public comment for this evening.
Okay. Well, thank you for presenting to us today, Brendan.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you.
Okay. Next order of business is HARB 2021-13, 340 Llewellyn Avenue, Wayne. Adding an addition to extend the carriage house, shortening 2 windows at the side of elevation, replacing side door, revising the existing off-center garage. Now, before we get into the presentation, some basic background on the property. According to Radnor Township records, they say it is a contributing property. It was built possibly in 1926. The architect was possibly Paul Davis. According to Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey, the historic name of this property is a former Diamant garage and chauffeur's quarters. The client was Francis H. Diamant. It was built in circa 1931. The architect was William Pope Barney, for Barney and Bandwell. Delaware County property records say it was built in 1892. The building area is 1,550 square feet living. The exterior walls are wood. Paul A. Davis, he's popped up a couple of times in some of our most recent meetings. Was born in 1872 and died in 1948. He was one of the most influential of Philadelphia's Beaux-Arts trained architects, according to Philadelphia Architects and Buildings. Paul Davis also designed the Bryn Mawr Bank building in Bryn Mawr, PA. William Pope Barney was born in 1890 and died in 1970. Was another local project of his was the Haverford Schools athletic building in Haverford, PA. Paul Davis and William Pope Barney worked in partnership with each other for a time from 1924 to 1930. Please introduce yourself and share your plans.
Hi, I'm Juliette Kozak. I'm the architect on the project. The owners are also here, Lindsay and Paul Schuster. They're listed as Lisa Curry, but they're there. So I will share the drawings. Okay. Oops. Let me go back to the beginning here. So just, we do have the original drawings of the carriage house. I think they're from the 20s, but I'm not absolutely confident what the date on those is.
Very cool indeed.
Pardon me?
Very cool indeed.
Oh, yeah, they're very cool. So this is basically the elevation that we want to slightly modify. So here's the property. You'll remember we were here the last couple meetings to talk about the main house over here. The carriage house was the carriage house for this main house. And then the lot was subdivided. So it's now a single family residence on this L-shaped lot here. So this is the elevation that we'll be modifying. This right here with the stripes is the addition. Basically, our goal is really just to extend the carriage house out to make it's a very small, there's a very limited living space in the interior. So we just want to add a little bit to make it function better. There are a couple windows on this side that face, there's a shed over here on the adjoining property. We just want to make those windows a little shorter. And then this is where the door that we'll be modifying is located. So it's not visible from the street, but we thought we'd add it into the application anyway.
I agree. I've seen this property on foot recently, and it's pretty well hidden.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the view of from the street of the carriage house behind from Pembroke. So, and then this is kind of the view from Luella. So there it is.
Is that a functioning garage or it's living space?
It's just storage right now. It's a little small for a garage, which is why we'd
Okay.
like to extend it. But I think the doors were replaced sometime since it was originally built to be overhead doors. So I think at some point it was used as to house cars. But the living space inside, the living room is, I think, 9 feet wide. So it's not super functional on the interior.
Yes, it was used as a garage, and the top was its chauffeur's quarters.
Yep. And so that's where most of the living space, the kitchen and bathroom are right now. So from the aerial view, this is Luella down here, and then this is the face that we'd like to modify. Basically, the plan is, so this right here is the existing carriage house. We'd really just like to extend out 12 feet and just kind of duplicate it and just replicate the whole facade that faces the street as it is, including, the pillars on the stone piers, the same type of window, just replicate the dormers on both sides. And then the only slight change would be, right now the garage doors there's kind of a 7-foot wide one and then a 15-foot wide one, which really only makes it a single car garage for our purposes, because this one's too narrow and then this one's too narrow for 2 cars to get in. So what we'd like to do is just make them of equal size, equal width.
And it's going to become living space, not storage space.
I know it would still be functioning as a garage.
Oh, okay. So it would still be a garage.
Yes.
Okay.
And then this is the door that I don't think you'd ever really see, but this is what's facing Pembroke Avenue. We just want to put in some more glass, get some more light in. And then these are the slightly shorter windows that face the shed on the neighboring property.
I have no questions.
Any further comments from the board?
I would like to make a motion to offer a certificate of appropriateness.
Is there a
Thank you.
second?
Thank you, Juliet, for understanding what we want.
Thank you. Kept the chimney.
Is there a second?
We're not always mean.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
I also say aye. Motion
Thank
carries. The board recommends a certificate of appropriateness. Congratulations and great
Go
work.
forth and do.
Thank you.
We'll try. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Next order of business is Harb 2021-14, 45 Luella Court, Wayne, PA. Build new kitchen and den. Before we get into the presentation, some basic background on the property. Radnor Township, records say, is a contributing property. It was built circa 1914 to 1925. According to Radnor Historical Society's Historic Resource Survey, the architects were Boyd, Abel, and Gewart. Delaware County property records say it was built in 1925. The building area is 1,844 square feet living. The exterior walls are stucco. Please introduce yourself and share your plans with us. Are you there?
His name is up on your screen, but I don't see him.
Dominic, can you unmute?
I don't know. I'm not into this Zoom stuff, so you have to bear with me.
Is that better, Dom?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Dom. So David and Denise Ardonio, the owners of 45 Luella, and we have our builder Dominic with us. We're planning to demo the existing kitchen and den, and then put on, in roughly the same footprint, but a kitchen and a den in the same area, match up the shields and the
Can you
windows.
share your design plans with us by sharing your screen?
I think I sent them to you in the required dimensions. I can try.
We have the paper dimensions, the paper designs, but can you share your screen with us with those design plans?
Okay.
The meeting is being recorded and we have to have it on the screen so that the Zoom can record it.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. I'm gonna let him drive from there. I share the screen. Yeah, that's him.
Yep. So what would you like to see?
Go through with us your design plans.
Okay. So the existing footprint is right here. And then what we would do is expanding another 12 feet to the right or to the east. And then going back, I think 8 more feet. And you can see in this cross listed area, that's the additional square footage.
Could you explain to me where this property is in relation to the Big Luella building?
across the street.
Yeah, so it's right
Across the street
40 Llewellyn.
towards the train tracks?
Correct.
Yeah.
The back side of
Okay.
the house. towards the
Okay,
train
so
track.
behind it. Okay, thank you, because I couldn't figure out where exactly it was. Okay,
Yeah, we are the last single house as you go around the Llewellyn Court.
okay. I can certainly understand your need for more space.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a galley kitchen currently, and it's a bit of a challenge.
This is your home, or are you builders and you're planning to flip it?
Oh, no, we're staying here. Reason we're doing it is for grandchildren.
Aha, okay.
Yeah, we'll be here a long time.
Did you go into a bit of detail about the garage?
There is no garage.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Thank you for including the pictures.
Oh, good. Yeah, I hope they give some good reference. We're gonna match everything up as much as we can, and it matches in with the neighborhood.
It's really not visible from street view. You have to really look for it on that one side.
Mm-hmm. No.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and any further comments from the board?
I would like to offer a certificate of appropriateness.
There a second?
Second,
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Lisa?
I,
Lisa? Aye, okay. I also say aye. The board recommends a certificate of appropriateness. Congratulations and thank you for presenting to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your service.
Appreciate it.
Okay, any public participation?
There is no current public participation.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I second.
I'll make a motion.
All
I
right,
second.
I say aye too. We are adjourned, everyone, and thank you for joining us and have a great evening.
And Ian, turn off the recording. I have a question for Andy.